He said it the way people confess to eating the last cookie. I just used your card for snacks. Not sorry. Not I didn't mean to. Just a disclosure, almost cheerful, like he was proud he'd figured something out. He stood in the kitchen doorway with a bag of chips tucked under his arm, grease already on his fingers. I remember thinking, absurdly, that the chips were the expensive kind, imported. The kind my sister liked because they felt special, without being extravagant. I didn't respond right away. I asked which card. The one on your phone, he said, and shrugged. It worked. The shrug mattered more than the words. It meant he expected nothing to happen next. By the time everyone else was asleep, the house quiet in that way that feels staged, I opened my banking app. The list scrolled longer than my thumb wanted to admit. Small charges at first, delivery apps, convenience stores, then larger ones, clustered, confident. Gaming credits, sneakers, something labeled, electronics. The total settled at $6,300 like it had been waiting there all along. I took screenshots, not because I planned to accuse anyone, because screenshots are how you talk to systems that don't care how you feel. In the morning, my mother waved it off before I finished explaining. Kids will be kids, she said, already turning back to her coffee. You can't expect them to understand money. What she meant, what she had always meant, was that some people absorb consequences so others don't have to, that this absorption was mistaken for generosity or patience or love. My sister didn't look at me. She scrolled on her phone, frowning, already irritated by the inconvenience of it all. We'll sort it out, she said. It's not like he meant anything by it. I nodded. I said nothing else. Silence has a way of clarifying what you're actually responsible for. That night, after everyone went to bed, I didn't pace. I didn't rehearse speeches. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and did what I do best. He traced connections. Cards linked to accounts. Accounts linked to phones. Phones linked to family plans. Auto payments nested inside subscriptions that had forgotten why they existed. It wasn't dramatic. It was meticulous. I froze everything that touched their spending. Credit cards. Secondary debit cards. Just in case account my mother insisted on keeping tied to my sister's phone. I didn't close anything. I didn't report fraud yet. I initiated temporary freezes under risk mitigation. The language matters. It keeps the system calm. When I finished, the house was still. I slept better than I expected. At 6 a.m., I was already awake. Not anxious, just alert. The scream came through the wall, thin but unmistakable, like something torn open too quickly. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. The caller ID wasn't my sister. Good morning, the woman said. Efficient, neutral. This is the fraud prevention department. Am I speaking with? Yes, I said. We noticed a cluster of unusual activity across several linked accounts. For security reasons, we placed temporary holds last night. I see here you initiated the freezes. I did. Thank you, she said, and meant it. Can you confirm whether the charges were authorized? No, I said. They were not. She didn't gasp. She didn't sympathize. She typed, given the amount and pattern, we'll need to escalate. This will require statements from all account holders involved. Funds won't be accessible until review is complete. That's fine. She paused, just long enough to register surprise. All right, you'll receive documentation shortly. When I hung up, the house felt different. Not quieter, sharper. My sister burst into the kitchen, phone in hand, eyes wide with something that wasn't quite panic yet. What did you do? I secured the accounts, I said. You can't just, everything is frozen. Yes, Mom followed her in, already upset. This is unnecessary. You embarrassed her. I looked at my sister then, really looked. She wasn't worried about the money. She was worried about access. The bank called, my sister said. They're talking about investigations. Statements. They should, I said. Her voice dropped. You could have talked to me? I did, I said gently. Yesterday. She opened her mouth, then closed it. The kid hovered in the hallway, suddenly very quiet, the chips gone, the confidence evaporated. No one apologized. That wasn't surprising. What surprised me was how quickly the conversation shifted to logistics. Who needed gas? Which bills were due? How long the freeze would last? The problem had been reframed into something solvable without addressing its cause. By noon, texts started coming in from extended family. Confusion. Mild accusation. Concern wrapped in politeness. I answered only the ones that required facts. I didn't defend myself. I didn't explain my feelings. Systems don't ask for those, and neither did anyone else. The review took days, then weeks. Some charges were reversed. Some weren't. The bank required a police report for the larger ones. My sister balked at that. She asked if there was another way. There isn't, I said. She didn't file it. The money stayed gone. The freezes lifted gradually, with conditions, lower limits, alerts on everything. Shared access revoked. The just-in-case account closed quietly, without ceremony. Family dinners changed after that. Conversations shortened. Invitations became careful. I noticed how often my sister checked her phone now, like it might betray her again. I noticed how my mother stopped using that phrase, "kids will be kids," around me. Not because she'd stopped believing it, but because she knew it wouldn't land. The kid didn't look at me for a long time. When he finally did, weeks later, it wasn't defiance I saw. It was calculation. He was learning where the edges were. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel cruel. What I felt was a kind of professional calm, the kind you get when a long-standing imbalance finally meets friction. Nothing was repaired. Nothing was destroyed. But something fundamental had changed. Access, once assumed, now had conditions, and everyone could feel it.